who do you reckon is the worst customer experience in the world of any industry?
According to what?
According to me.
You, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just reframe the question. Who do you think that I think is the worst customer experience in the world? Well, you're not going to say anything in, you might say rental cars. I was going to say you weren't going to say anything in travel.
No, it is in travel, actually.
I know, but I was going to say you're not going to say travel because, you can't totally destroy your own business. But
I haven't had that many bad touchwood rental car experiences.
Yeah. So who else could I think of? What are the
Pretty
worst?
obvious one.
Government.
Governments do own a lot of this often, but that's not exactly...
Like a utility business?
Well, in a way, it's not really a utility. It's in travel. Fairly obvious, I would have thought.
Airport?
Getting close.
Airlines?
Airlines.
You think airlines?
As always.
I would thought you were no chance of saying airlines.
Well, not every airline.
You think airlines are the worst customer experience?
Here's example of two in the last 3 days I've had. So I had a flight. I booked this flight, Doha to London. I booked it a year. To get points, you need to book it literally the minute it opens.
Yeah.
So I booked it the minute it opens. This was 6 months ago on BA, who I hate, but Qatar just never opened point seats.
Hang on BA flies.
Doha to London.
Do they?
Both
Okay.
BA and Qatar do.
What
Two separate
planes
flights.
are they flying?
Fly a shocking 787, I think, or it's a bad plane, whatever.
They've,
No,
really,
triple
fa-
seven, triple
they've
seven.
really fallen behind BA. Which plane is newer, a 777 or a 787?
Usually 777s.
A newer plane.
It depends. They still make both.
Yeah.
But most 787s are 2010 to 15. So
Which is a nicer
now.
plane to fly on.
I prefer a 777. Some people prefer a 787. They call it the Dreamliner. It was a great bit of branding from Boeing. But the 777 goes longer now, I think.
I get very confused between those two.
They're pretty similar. They're both double I.
Emirates flies 777s.
Yep, Emirates flies 777. I don't think Singapore flies 787 and 350s. Anyway, they're pretty similar aircraft. So I booked this flight ages ago. They had, and BA, so my Qatar flight was landing at 5 a.m. and I got a BA flight for 7 a.m. So pretty good connection. I couldn't get Qatar. Car flying every hour, but just weren't giving point seats. And then they have another flight at 1:45 a.m. Shocking flight that doesn't really connect anything. I get this random message from BA saying your flight's been cancelled. I thought, what the hell? They've cancelled the entire schedule, not just my flight. They've cancelled. They just aren't flying that route at all. 6 months after I booked it.
Oh my gosh!
Your option is stay at the airport for 12 hours and have another red eye. What a disaster for a customer.
But if BA is not flying it,
so now I've got to either wait and take another red eye. So you got to have a red eye.
Who's red eye?
Like BA. BA's got one flight left now. They went from 2 to 1.
see.
But the one they kept was the bad one, not the good one. They go to great flight and
Why
a
do
terrible
you think
flight.
they did that? There's got to. I mean, they're not idiots.
I presume there's demand issues, so they need to cancel a flight.
And they kept whatever the cheapest
But
slot
why would they
was.
keep the worst
Well,
one?
that's why, because they kept the cheapest slot. Because they got demand issues, they're trying to cut costs, and a 1:45 a.m. flight has got to be a much cheaper slot.
Always. Sometimes night flights...
1:45.
And I don't think the price differs that much from slots. I don't think it's huge. I don't think there's huge variance. When we were negotiating our slot, I don't think the passenger movement costs change much based on slot time. It's just hard to get the slot you wanted. But they had a good slot. Why they gave up that slot? But to cancel...
there is a deal with an airline which is called, we can change whatever we want whenever we want.
Well, that was a Qantas ghost flights thing, right?
And you can do nothing. That's the deal.
That's just... Can you think of any other business in the world that can... if we sold a hotel to somebody and said... and sometimes this will happen because a hotel corporate books and we'll do everything we can to find you at least something better, or something equal. The airlines go, we've cancelled a flight.
Do you know if you're
sort yourself out?
Do you know if you're a mere mortal?
Yeah,
you wouldn't know about this. And you book a flight on a plane that is a seat that forms the majority of that flight, then the plane will often just overbook you.
Well, my nephew had that issue with Air Canada a few months ago.
Bump you off the flight.
Yeah.
And so that is at least this has got a real operational thing, like they cancel the whole thing.
Compensation for that, though.
Yeah, but that is, I think you should start with that about, can you believe this goes on with airlines?
Yeah, they're both
I
complained about this a few months ago.
What other industry do you buy a product and then they say, oh, we sold more than we have, so you're just not going to be getting it? And we're going
rental cars is that other example.
Yeah.
But I thought the cancelling the flight completely, they're both bad.
Well, that's a very interesting outcome.
Then I had a Air Canada. This is we're going skiing with a bunch of mates next year.
There's two airlines in Canada, right?
WestJet.
Oh,
there used to be Canadian Airlines in Air Canada, but Canadian went bankrupt 20 years ago, and Air Canada took them over.
So there's only one.
There's just one.
There's like a Qantas.
It's a Qantas, but with no Virgin. There's a WestJet, which is a pretty good airline.
And are they nice to fly or not?
Okay, if you
a United kind of okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a great. Coming back, remember I had a broken leg, and that was
They were
when-
nice to you, but
They were amazing then.
Is there like fit out on the plane good?
Okay, it's okay. Much better than BA.
Yep.
But anyway, so I had a bunch of internal flights. We were going heli ski, all that stuff, and they changed the flight like significantly from 5:40 to 2:40. This is material. There was a 5 o'clock. For some reason, they didn't put me on the 5 o'clock. They put me on one 3 hours.
Maybe it was
which makes-
full.
I doubt it's full. This is still 7 months out. Wouldn't be full. But they changed it. They didn't even tell me. I only found out because another guy told me, the flight's changed because he was looking at the book of like what other industry cancels flights on you, changes flights, doesn't tell you? Like no one can get away with it. Like airlines are a complete law unto themselves, these rogues. Like they don't care about a customer at all.
Can you imagine how everyone else feels? Because you've got these relationships with airlines where you give them tens of millions of dollars or more, and this is how you
Yeah, I get
feel.
treated. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine what the regular people feel? I totally agree with you about all of this.
We've seen Alan Joyce had a bit in the news with he released his book.
Oh,
but,
I can't believe we get to talk about Ellen.
well,
Joyce.
I'm actually not going to talk about Joyce because
that's a shame.
but people give Qantas a heap of crap for being not. Qantas is now the most on-time airline in the world. They've really turned full circle. And Qantas, I've had, in touch wood again, I've had great experiences for the last 18 months with Qantas. And they've got BA cancelling flights. You've got Air Canada changing flights, not telling you. Qantas don't do this. They actually really become really good airline again. It's
Well, I want to tell you what I think Alan Joyce's theme song should be when he walks onto a stage. Do you remember that song? I remember. I don't know when it was from. 2000s, 90s by Brian Adams. Remember that guy?
Summer of 69?
And no, he's saying
Everything I do for you.
Yes, that should be Ellen Joyce's song. Everything I do it for you.
You talking about shareholders or customers?
Well, everyone except himself. He basically continues to insist that everything he did was completely selfless and it was all for Qantas or the brand or the customers.
Yeah.
And like the $110 million he took off the table, that didn't benefit him. That was all for you. I did this all for you.
I said to Joe last week, I said he should give us a carry and rampart to Alan Joyce because part of the value of that business, which is getting more valuable by the day, is due to Joyce. Like he can just write such incredible stuff. It's almost worth subscribing to Rampart just for, and he did a great AFR article too, just for his Joyce commentary because it's just so good.
Well, Alan Joyce said something. He said one thing that I really strongly did not like, which had nothing to do with Qantas actually. When he was questioned, you saw that there was an interview with him in
The Australian?
probably the Australian.
Caroline Overington?
Yes, where
Excellent.
I thought
It was a great piece.
he didn't cover himself in glory. Let's just say
not when he
that.
said, when she said, why do you have a PR person here? And he goes, have you ever interviewed a
Yes.
CEO before?
Have you ever interviewed a
God.
CEO? It's like that level of arrogance is not great. Anyway, but he did say this when he was questioned about the $110 million that he pocketed. Presumably he paid half of it to the ATO, would be my guess. But he said,
Depends how it's structured. He could be capital gain.
he said, I'm not here to defend capitalism, but that's how capitalism works. And I feel like this. I feel like you should be here to defend capitalism. Like, why are you pretending? I don't know. I'm not saying capitalism's good, but we're in capitalism. That's how it works. Like, it is good. Like, it's got some problems, e.g., we pay CEOs that take no personal risk $110 million. That's a problem with capitalism.
Yeah.
What he should have said is, capitalism is...
That's not real capitalism, I'd argue.
Well, that is part of
Too much
capitalism.
agency costs in this to be real
But
capitalism.
he should say, well, I'm a big fan of capitalism. It's better than anything else. But unfortunately, there are some bugs in capitalism, and that's how I managed to get $110
Feature for him,
million.
bug for everyone else.
Yeah, well, it is a bug, right? And so I thought that was quite despicable to say I'm not here to defend
sad
capitalism.
thing-
If a guy who is running one of the biggest companies in Australia is not prepared to stand up and say, we're in a time where there's a lot of arguments about socialism, like that's bad. We should defend capitalism. Like what he stands for nothing except himself.
I think the tragedy of Joyce, there's a couple of tragedies of Joyce. One is that he could have retired in 2019, a hero of Australian commerce.
With how much
a
money?
legend.
Whoa. How much money?
Similar money to he took?
No, maybe 60 mil.
No, I don't think that much.
All the money came in the back end because they got all these benefits in the back end.
I think that he gets, but he was there for 20 years
I
before
know, but
that.
it
So I'm not
ramped.
sure
He
it's
didn't
that
have
extreme.
He didn't have
It's
full
different.
control in the way he did of
Well,
that.
I was controlling Goiter, who was
Of the boardroom,
ineffective
let's
chairman,
say.
which was Goiter who ran the board.
And so I think he would have been left with a lot less money.
I think there's an asterisk there. I think he maybe 20. I don't think the difference is, but either way, wealthy guy.
Yeah.
But I think the tragedy for him is he would have left. He would have had a choice of boards in Australia. He would have been everywhere. I sat on a plane with him once before he was super popular, and people loved this guy. And I went to a function with him in 2000. I was at a function he was speaking at in 2018. People loved him.
I loved him when he shut down the airline.
That was 2011.
I had
think.
tickets. I couldn't fly.
Yeah.
I thought
it was brave.
Thankfully, there's a guy that's prepared not to get pushed around.
So I think he had, and I think some people didn't like him for that, but I think overall he came out of that really well. The tragedy was, it's a great lesson for, I don't know exactly how you take this lesson, but for people who are at the top who don't pick their exit time and stay too long. It's such an art, and obviously Ginger Allen's a classic
Jerry
example.
Seinfeld, he picked a peak, right? He got out at the peak.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week with Mike getting that answer right. Like it's so few and far between CEOs and leaders in general, presidents, etc., who are able to call their shot and not stay on too long. And Alan Joyce is a classic example of someone who stayed on way too long. And the decisions he made in the last 18 months were just so ridiculous. Like, he just made bad decision after bad decision. The ghost flights for me was the absolute worst, that's a bit like my BA thing, where they were charging for flights, they'd cancel it, they wouldn't tell the customer. And why it was so bad is the customer then had to pay double to rebook the flight. So they had this huge existential cost because Qantas just stuffed up. That, to me, was the absolute worst. I wasn't as critical of the baggage handler sackings as Joe Asson's been. I thought that was badly handled, but he was trying to cut costs and be on an even playing field with his competitors. So to me, that was far more excusable. It wasn't the ghost flights was completely inexcusable.
Well, Jerry Seinfeld, I listened to a lot of interviews with comedians, and Jerry Seinfeld said he was offered this insane amount of money to keep going. Like, actually, he was talking about hundreds of millions of dollars for a season, and he declined it because he said, where we're at, there is no way that I can keep this up. Like, basically the only way is down, and I don't want to go down.
And Seinfeld probably had peaked about 3 years earlier, so it was a slow...
It wasn't a great ending, obviously.
Well, when Larry David left after, I think, Series 7, it started
Larry David wrote the ending.
Yeah, he came back for that.
It wasn't great.
But I thought that last episode was fine. But like the last 2 or 3 seasons really fell.
But he tried to, he could have made more money, is my point. And he decided not to. I'll tell you.
Short term, long term would have damaged syndication probably because they had all these crappy episodes. So I think he's made billions from syndication since then. Yep. So there's an argument that he was long term greedy and not short term.
So let's talk also about this idea of personal brand. Now, Alan Joyce, he gets interviewed. I'll say this. You know Lara Carey. If Alan Joyce would have engaged Lara Carey...
I don't know it personally, but I obviously know her.
Yeah, well, she's like advisor to the stars, right?
She's the crisis expert, right?
And so lovely person. And so she...
wasn't she called in for Anthony Catalano and then they parted ways soon after?
I think everyone calls her in, basically. And so if she was advising Joyce, I'm pretty sure a guy that took $110 million off the table and was getting a lot of hate would not have done an interview sitting in a gazillion-dollar apartment with a grand piano and some kind of little pool, probably the little fish that eat your skin off your toes, Like, that is not... What the hell is he doing the interview there for? It is such bad judgment, right? Yeah. It is. He should have gone to a Macca's or something. Do you see that there was an interview with Kyle Sandilands and he drove his Rolls Royce through a McDonald's drive-through?
Kyle.
Yeah. I thought that was like, that's at least that's on brand, right? Totally. But maybe Alan Joyce is on brand as well. Maybe that is Alan Joyce. Maybe the guy that came from...
never used to be his brand. His brand used to be hard-ass CEO, but did it for the right reasons. And I think not rich former CEO.
I've met a lot of people that came from nothing, and one of the most emotionally important things for them is to have all of the trappings of wealth because they were so poor when they were young. Alan Joyce obviously had a tough upbringing. It's possible that this is just his psychological mechanism for trying to deal with his childhood.
It goes one of two ways. You either become... you usually become like a Warren Buffett style where you have all this money and don't want to spend it because you're psychologically incapable of spending money because you think you're going to run out of money.
I don't believe that story about Warren Buffett though. Like,
Warren Buffett's extreme.
He flies private jets. He fly, he just I don't fly on a private jet, but I bought is it called net jets? I buy net jets, so I'm just flying on my own business.
He does live in the same house he bought in the 60s. So
then how long? I don't know. I'm not such a believer in the Warren Buffett myth on what's it called? Parsimony.